Well, I've had several people want to know what the blackberries look like, and let me tell you something, they look pretty doggone good. Remember, these are blackberries in containers. If you're not following me, I'm growing beautiful blackberries in containers, and you can too. Check this out. So I'm going to try to keep my back to the wind because it's 15 to 20 miles an hour and I don't want you to have to hear all the wind noise. Hopefully you won't. I've got 2 rows of blackberries. The orange tubs over there are blackberries too, and we'll go look at those. They are a different variety. We've actually got 3 different varieties right here. So let's look at these. The first tub is, I believe, Ouachita. There was a mix-up. It's not what the rest of these are, and I think it's called, I'm pretty sure it's a Ouachita because I have another Ouachita and this looks just like it. Same growth pattern, same color bloom, same just about everything. So I believe that's a Ouachita, and it has done really well. This is going on my 3rd year. I planted it 2 years ago, so this is its 3rd season in these pots. It's leafing out nicely, as you can see. Really nice. So I'm tickled with it. Ouachita is a good berry. It didn't get hurt at all in the freeze, the big freeze. The next one we're going to look at did. So keep that in mind if you live north of Zone 8, because we don't get that kind of weather very often, at least for that long of a period. So the rest of them, first one's Ouachita, 99% sure. The rest of them are Prime-Ark Freedom, and as you can see, they have done real well too. Now these were really hurt by the freeze. Last year I pruned out at least half of their canes, and even came along this winter and pruned out a few more of their canes just a few weeks ago. So these are looking really good. I'm just beginning to get some blooms. Got some fixing to come on there. So we're gonna have lots and lots of blackberries. This is a Prime-Ark variety, and these are the floor canes, last year's canes. So I should have real soon, should have some new canes coming up, the Prime-Ark that will bear this fall after these produce. But these are the Prime-Ark Freedoms. They are leafing out. These have been leafing out for a couple of weeks now, and just really, really nice. I didn't notice all the bloom buds, the swelling, bloom swell they call it, until just now. Haven't gotten real close to look, but there we got some nice blooms forming. Again, these are last year's canes. These are the floor canes of this Prime-Ark variety. All of them, just about, I noticed some over there that may not be, but all of them are inside my trellis. If you don't have a trellis, if you raise blackberries and do not have a trellis, you really need to build this simple trellis. At the workshop the other day, we built this trellis. It's a real good trellis, strong trellis, easy to build and expensive. Put a post about every 8 feet or so, and they do, this trellis does great. So I'll put a link to that at the end of this video, my trellis, and I hope maybe you were at Bob Wells and were able to see how easy to just pick one up and put it inside the trellis if you have one falling outside. But most of them, you train them to fall on the wire. The reason you want a trellis is because once these start getting loaded down with blackberries, and that's going to have, just that very end right there is going to have 5-10 blackberries on it. Once they get loaded down with blackberries, those blackberries get big and full of water and heavy. They will take that limb, can take that limb all the way to the ground and snap it off down to the bottom, or bend it to where it kills it. I've seen it happen over and over and over. That's why I put up a trellis. So you really do want a trellis. It helps your blackberries stand up straight. It keeps them from falling over, and just really does a good job. Now what about the Poncas? These are the new Ponca blackberry. It's a blackberry from the newest blackberry from University of Arkansas, supposedly the sweetest one they've designed, that they've bred up. And I do need to come in here and use my little tying tool to tie these up here so they don't Some of them are outside the trellis, and that's my fault for not tying them like I should in a timely manner. But these last year, and I mean, just look at them, how well they've done. These last year were about, when I planted them, they looked about like that right there. About 6, 8, 10 inches long maybe, just a stick. And I want you to look what they did all just last year now. This is all last year's growth. Just 1 year's growth. These have been planted for 1 year. So these are 1 year plants. They can do real well if you have a good root system. So let's just go on down. They're starting to leaf out a little bit, not as much. They're just going to be, obviously going to be a later bloomer, a later bearer than the Prime-Ark Freedoms, which is fine. You don't get all your blackberries at once. You can spread the harvest out. And again, beauty of this trellis is, you don't like where it is, pull it around. Now I've got a tying machine that I'll come in here and I'll tie that, and it will it'll hold it for the whole season and then some. Somebody asked me about the Poncas. They were a little concerned that they got a different kind of plant. They had ordered Poncas, but they were afraid they didn't get it because they were purple. And I assured him that mine are quite purple too. Very, very purple. I'm trying not to injure these buds. They're pretty fragile when they're in this state right now. I'm trying when I handle them, I'm trying not to injure that little bud, because that's where it's either going to be a leaf or it's going to be later on be a bloom. But they'll start blooming. I figure these will start blooming in a couple of weeks probably, and I'm looking forward to it. But yes, Poncas are purple caned, very, very purple. Anyway, just a look at the blackberries. The Poncas look good, but the Prime-Ark Freedoms apparently get going a couple of weeks quicker than the Poncas, because that's what's going on with the Prime-Ark Freedoms. And this was even a little bit, the Ouachita was a little bit behind the Prime-Ark Freedoms too. It's leaving out, but as you can see, the leaves are much smaller than they are on this Prime-Ark Freedom. And man, I'm gonna have berries, berries, berries. Holy moly. So just a quick look, and they look good. Got a few canes, again, a few canes that look dead. This one looks dead, and yet it's got a lateral coming out of it, so it's not dead. I usually wait to prune something out until it really, really looks dead, because you just never know. Now see, that one has died back to about right there. If I prune it, I won't take it all the way out, because look, I would lose all those blackberries. Those are blackberries in process. So if I prune that whole cane out just because the top of it looked bad, I would lose those blackberries. So I'll prune that off about right there, and I'm gonna get some blackberries out of it. All right, we're gonna go do something else, but thought you might want to see the blackberries. Prime-Ark Freedoms are well in progress. The Ouachita is starting to leaf out real well, and the Poncas are just beginning to start leafing out. So if you bought the Poncas last year, be patient. Prime-Ark Freedom is a very sweet blackberry, and but the Poncas are supposed to be sweeter. So this year will tell the tale on that. Can you grow blackberries in containers? You dadgum right you can. We're gone.